there, welcome to another episode of Vision Quest. Thank you so much for being here. If you're coming back, hey friend, what's been going on? How's your week been? I would like to know your response, but once again, I cannot hear you. So just like find some method of telling me how your week's been, because I genuinely do care. And if this is your first time listening to this or watching this, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Ashley Apap. I'm a writer-comedian from Melbourne, Australia. And this is a podcast where I talk to people who I enjoy about things that they enjoy, ask them some questions, have a great time, and it's just a wholesome, fun place to be. So I'm very excited to have my dear friend, old pal, Chodziesner is here. The man himself.
Yeah, what up?
What up? What down?
What down? I'm down.
You down? You're down to say what up?
What up?
How are you? How's your week going?
My week's good. I firstly just want to say it's so nice that you genuinely care about how people's weeks are going. Who are like, I get the sense that you are not just saying that to the people who are listening, which is nice.
I mean, yeah, I care. Especially like right now, there's nothing happening. So I just like hope people are okay, you know? Yeah, definitely. I'm okay. Oh,
So
thank God.
Cross me off your list.
It's like a Santa's list where we got every name of every human being on the planet.
Right, yeah.
We got to go. It's sorted by last name, so I can see.
Right, it should be fairly close to the top.
So I've got a Josh and then I've got a Joshua. Which one's you?
Are they both Chodziesner? Because that's not a common name.
Yeah.
That's an error.
Oh.
I should be in there twice.
Did you register yourself under both Josh and... Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I did, yeah. Sorry,
Alright.
I just wasn't sure which one you wanted.
Okay, done. Great.
And then never have to check again.
Never again. I never
Just
speak
once.
to you ever again. Yeah. I'm so grateful for you to be here on the internet with me.
I'm happy to be on the internet. My favorite place.
Just for anyone listening to and or watching this, so Josh and I have known each other for what? 6 years? A while now, 5-6 years?
Yeah, something like that. Pretty close to... When did you start doing improv?
I think 2014 or 2015.
Because I started mid-2014.
Well, then it would have been 2015 because
Right.
you were my assistant teacher
Oh, yeah.
in my very first level with Bronnie. Shout out to Bronnie, which is crazy to me. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Or was it level 2? It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
The point
I'll be
is,
honest, I don't remember half the classes I've taught.
No, exactly. But the point is, we met doing improv at the Improv Conspiracy once again. Shout out.
Yeah, big plug.
BP, big plug. BP Fuel, big plug.
Butt
Fuel.
plug.
Butt plug fuel. What's butt plug fuel? Poo.
Yeah, I think that fuels butt plug.
Just to get vulnerable right up top. Since the very first interaction we had, I was like, oh, I trust this person. I like this person.
Oh, nice.
And then I went to do exchange in Boston, and you were in New York for a week or so before you were doing IO in Chicago.
Yes. Yeah, we were doing the Del Close Marathon in New York.
Yes. And I went along with you guys and met, like I knew some people kind of, but I didn't really know anyone, and you were all so welcoming and kind to me. And I remember even then just being like, this person is so lovely and friendly and genuine. And so I feel excited to talk to you today, not just because we're friends and I care about you, but also because I don't think there's ever been a time, like if I'm in a room of people and for example, at like the theater and there's people that I don't know, if you're there, I'm like, oh, great. At least there's someone here that I know I'm going to talk to and I'm going to feel comfortable and they're not going to like make me feel intimidated. Although you do have intimidating qualities. That's not what I'm saying. Josh is such a fucking loser. You can't be intimidated by him.
Yeah, let's see you back your way out of this one. I feel just quickly the same. I remember when we were in New York being excited to see you even though I didn't know you really.
Aw, so nice.
Also, side note, to get off this compliment train we're both on,
Yeah.
how cool is it just in general that we can say the sentence, oh, when we were in New York? Like,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I never thought I'd be able to say that.
Yeah. And like now, maybe we'll never be able to say that again about the future.
Yeah.
Sad. Like, so you performed in Del Close Marathon that year and then I did the next year. And that was such a very quick goal for me. Like I only really knew what improv was a couple years before I started doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to all of a sudden be able to be like, oh, wow, I participated in this thing that is very ingrained in the culture of it was just very exciting. And now, like, will it exist ever again?
Probably not, I would say. I think it was a good example, though, of, for me at least, of like, because it was so quick between like starting improv and then going and doing that. It's like, oh, you can just do things in the world. Like, if there's something interests you, there are obviously many barriers in many scenarios, but it's always worth checking because often there's less barriers than you think, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've never thought of it that way. That's a great way to look at it. And I think that like when you hear about people that have interests that you don't understand anything about and they're like, yeah, I did this thing that's like a staple in this community.
Yeah.
And you're like, I would have never even thought that existed.
Yeah, it was probably one of the first times in my adult life that I was like, I want to do this big thing, and then made plans and then did it.
Yeah, a big accomplishment. Okay, so shall we get into the questions? Should we do it?
Yeah.
My first question is, what did you want to be when you grew up, and why do you think that is?
When I was very little, I wanted to be a lion when I grew up. I just have a memory of like walking home from kinder or something and my mum asking me what I wanted to be, and I said a lion. I think because of Lion King.
So really you wanted to be a king?
Maybe, yeah. If I'm a lion, then I can maybe become king. But that always appealed to me. A cartoon lion, I think, looking back.
Yeah,
I don't think I really wanted to eat raw meat all day. But then I was thinking, I never really had like, I want to be a fireman or whatever. I always think fireman when people ask that question.
It's such a classic answer though for a kid.
One of the original jobs.
Yeah, and one of the most dangerous jobs in the world.
I know, yeah. But I remember just thinking that I wanted to do something creative, and that's all I wanted, was to like make my money doing something creative. I think because just the thought of any other kind of job really scared me as a kid. Still does, but I remember just having that as my default answer whenever anyone would ask.
That's so self-aware of a kid to know, to be like, I don't know what it is, but I know I want to make stuff. And I don't want to have a job that makes me feel like I want to die.
Yeah. I knew from an early age that like a lot of jobs destroy your spirit, I think. And I just wanted to avoid that.
I wish at that age, at like a young age, I had the self-awareness to be like, I want to do something that makes me feel good.
I don't want to give myself too much credit. Like, I think it was more that I just didn't want, I just would think of any other job and be like, oh, like gross. I don't want to do any of these things.
Yeah.
So it was more of a like, well, what's left? I guess anything creative.
But that's like process of elimination. That's a good thing. That's still smart.
I suppose. Yeah, I was a fucking genius, I guess.
Elon Musk? More like, okay, now just hold on here. Elon Musk. More like we gone Tusk, because he maybe poaches elephant. You heard it here first. Scandal.
Yeah, that was, I'll be honest, because we're friends, that was really bad.
Thank you. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to say that they're ever good. Elon Musk, sorry if you're hearing this, but breaking news.
He's watching on his gold-plated computer.
It's not even a computer though. It's a wall. It's an interactive like wall. Did you ever watch Richie Rich, the one with Macaulay Culkin? Was it Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
There's a scene in
McDonald's in his house.
Yes, he had a McDonald's. Yeah, the famous things: McDonald's in his house, a roller coaster in his backyard, and he had this like interactive wall. He had a basketball court in his room, and then there was this wall, I think, that separates, and behind it is like this GPS tracking computer system. So the plot of that movie is insane. He like has to break into Mount Rushmore where there's like a safe. His family's safe is in Mount Rushmore, and there's like people coming for him. That's like the Richie Rich plot. Richie Rich has every toy any boy could ever want, in addition to an adoring mother and father. The one thing Richie doesn't have is friends.
Oh,
Oh, God.
God.
When his parents suddenly go missing, Richie suspects an executive, same, in the family company is to blame. Setting out to solve the mystery, Richie hooks up with a group of kids. Okay, they hook up their kids.
Oh, that's some sexy
Yeah, that's who prove they just might fill the void in his life while helping him save his folks. So that's Richie Rich. Well, when his parents go missing, I'm pretty sure they're like they're hidden in Mount Rushmore. I swear there's like a family safe or something. I remember when I was little, I remember being like 4 and being like, man, can't wait to be 12.
Yeah. So
Why?
weird. So young.
So young and also like shit.
Yeah, exactly. In my mind, when I was probably from like 10 onwards, I was like 23 is the perfect age. I got it in my mind that 23 was like peak of adulthood. You're super mature. You'll have a house, but you're also young enough that you can party in that house that you own.
I mean, you got some of it right. You do party at 23
That's true. That's true. But you're also
in debt.
have crippling debt and anxiety, and
Yeah. Will we ever own houses? Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I would like to. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Maybe if like 10 creative friends like all get together and we all like buy a 1-bedroom apartment and like timeshare style. That's the only way I can see that working.
Yeah. Or like a commune, like buy a farmhouse. I'd do a commune, honestly. The older I get, the more I'm like, send me to the farm.
Send me send me to the farm and put me down.
Yeah.
Question 2 is, what is your favorite thing about yourself?
This was the hardest question. Is it always, do people say that a lot? I don't know. For me,
Yeah.
I think what I like about myself is that I can pretty easily be content in most situations. Like I'm fairly easy to please just within myself. Like as long as I have like enough water to drink, because I hate being thirsty, but as long as I have enough water to drink, you can plop me pretty much anywhere and I'm happy to sit and just watch things.
So, are you saying you're a golden retriever?
In many ways, yeah. I shed so much.
You sweat, you
I
shed,
sweat, I shed.
and
I'm
I
just a
drink.
disgusting mess.
I think that's a very good quality. That probably comes from you being comfortable in yourself, which is, even though you found it hard to even come up with an answer, which is pretty normal. I think we live in a society that tells us that we should hate ourselves, which is not anything new. The fact that you're able to kind of realize that,
On this train of thought for a second, I was like, maybe I'm like minimalist, but I don't think that's true because if you could see my room, it's definitely not true. But I do think, yeah, if I like, as long as I'm not thirsty and in like physical pain, not in physical pain, then I feel like I can sit and just watch things go by pretty contently.
that's pretty
I don't
great.
get bored very easily, I guess is another way of saying it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that comes from like I said, like being okay with yourself and like enjoying your own company and stuff and like learning that as you grow up? Or do you think it comes from being so anxious that it's hard to be bored because you're like, because I can flip between both sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely, flip between both. For me, I reckon it's more like I find most things in the world pretty endlessly interesting. Like I can find pretty much anything interesting. So I think it's hard to be bored when if I am able to like not be super anxious, I can just kind of sit there and watch something happening and it can hold my interest, I think.
Yeah, like being in awe of everything.
Yeah, and like I don't mind waiting for things because there's always something to stare at. And like public transport is another big one. I really enjoy like long train rides
Mm-hmm.
because there's just so much to like people to watch and things outside the windows to watch. And I always like bring things to occupy my time when I have to do like a long train ride, but I never end up using any of them because I just stare out the window and yeah.
I love that.
I'm interested in things.
The next question is, what's your favorite feeling? And so it can be physical or emotional.
Yeah, first thing that came to my mind was like a nice cuddle after a long cold night out. That's up there.
So wholesome.
Because originally it came from like, well, what's my favorite feeling? My favorite feeling is like, and I think if I had to put it in like real life terms, I think that's what it is. That's the like ultimate like distillation of that feeling for me.
And so what was the physical, can you do that little sound again? It was just yeah, perfect. Okay, great.
Yeah. You're not recording this, are you?
No. This is my personal this is personal time.
Great.
I'm sending this to the government though, because I need to keep I need to send them all my statistics for my "Are you okay?" list.
Oh no.
So they're going to see this.
I thought it was a "How you going" list, not an "Are you okay" list.
Oh shit.
Those are different things.
Oh wait, that's my other list. Wait, 1 second. Oh wait, your name isn't even on the "Are you okay?" list.
Because you don't care if I'm okay.
I think it means that you're just not.
It's just not okay. Never going to be okay. Don't bother checking.
That is a very nice feeling, especially on I like that you've specified on a cold night.
Oh yeah. Because I think the warmth is part of it, but it's also just the like knowing that it's still freezing outside, but you're no longer in that is nice. Also, one amendment I've just thought.
The First Amendment?
Yeah. If I could just add, if I could add free speech, is it free speech? First Amendment. The cuddle aspect doesn't necessarily need to be with another person, I think, because that it can be prohibitive.
Yeah. So like self cuddle, or
just like when you get in bed, obviously ideally it's with someone else, but when you get in bed and you just kind of like you become small kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And you're all like you burrito yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you have a pet and you cuddle up with a pet.
Oh.
All right. So the next question is, what is your happy place, or where is your happy place?
Kind of related to the last one, but I think Chicago is probably my happy place, location-wise. Largely, obviously, because my partner lives there. But even before we were together, I just remember the feeling going there and being like, this feels right. This feels like bigger than Melbourne, so you don't feel quite as like under a microscope some of the time, I think. Yeah, you feel a little bit more anonymous, I think, which I love. But also there seems to be this like feeling, I'm sure many cities have this, but I just felt it in Chicago, this feeling of like everyone's just doing their best. So like, and everyone kind of respects that. Maybe it's like because it's like a big city, but also it's in the Midwest. So there's a little bit of, just feels a little bit more wholesome, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's my favorite city in the US, hands down. I've definitely thought about it retroactively, and people have asked me when I've said that, and be like, well, why did you not move there? Why did you move to LA? And I'm like, well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. LA made sense for you, right? Work-wise.
Yeah. And like, I think if I had gone to Chicago, I would have just been like on another holiday pretty much. And the same thing, initially I wanted to go to 6 months in New York and 6 months in LA. But I was like, that's not going to make sense if I can get a job on a show or something, which ended up happening. Like those jobs are always longer than 6 months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it worked out, but yeah, I've thought about it and I was like, if I could go back and live there again, I would. Like Chicago's just the best. Like exactly what you're saying. It feels like you're in a big city in a way that doesn't make you feel like small in a scary way. It makes you feel like, oh, I can just be here. Everyone here is just living their own lives and not really giving a shit what anyone else is doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like, obviously there are many cities I haven't been to, so I'm sure they have sort of similar vibes, but I just like comparing to New York and LA, I felt like it's just more, there's less of a thing of like, well, what are you doing with your life kind of thing. And it's more just like, how's your life going? Or like, hoping everything's good with you.
Yeah, the quality of life just seems a bit different as well. And like, obviously, New York has really good public transport, but something about it felt more like Melbourne than any other US city that I'd been to, which is probably why we like it so much as well, because it feels familiar. Like they've got lots of beautiful parks, they've got beaches that are very close and accessible, and there's great, easy to use public transport. So, and so many good diners.
Oh yeah. Oh baby.
Oh, give me that grilled cheese.
Give me that uh eggs.
Give me that eggs.
Give me that eggs. I
Yep.
want my eggs back.
I want my eggs back, eggs back, eggs back, eggs.
It's nothing. This is nothing.
No, this is nothing. But hey, everything is everything and everything is nothing and nothing is everything and everything's eggs. See, this is the issue. This is the issue. I was like, if I have Josh on, it's just gonna fire me right up.
And these gonna be eggs.
These silly egg juices are they're gonna flow out.
That's your period. If that's what's happening.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not silly, but it is egg juice. Now let's bring the mood down, tone shift. So the next question is, what's your favorite song to cry to?
I'm not someone who like puts on a song with the intention of crying necessarily, but there are songs that get me. Probably number one is Bloom by Black Party.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it gets me because it's just about like wanting the best for someone and being like the like repeated phrases, I hope your flowers bloom, and just like, God, I hope you do well because you deserve it. That kind of vibe. It's linked to a couple different memories, but it's also just like, that kind of sadness. It's like happy sadness. That's what gets me, I think. I think just anytime you can, like, I don't know, if you feel more in touch with your emotions or whatever, there's a positive side to that feeling, even if the emotions are sort of sad or, negative or whatever. Anytime you're like, oh man, I'm feeling, that's good. That's good. Because I feel like we spend so much time like avoiding that and distracting ourselves and trying not to sit and feel.
I think you and I are definitely two people that feel things, and that is a hot scoop.
Do you have an animation for a hot scoop?
Yeah, it's someone comes out and it's someone cracking open an egg, scooping it out, steam coming out. Hot scoop.
Hot scoop, because when we think scoop, we think egg.
At this point, you think anything and you think egg.
That's true. It's hard to get it out of my mind.
For a second, I looked at the little, I think it's a tree on top of your hat, and was like, that could be an egg.
Anything can be an egg, really.
Well, the question is, what came first? The egg or the egg?
The egg did, yeah. I mean, obviously the egg. That's a dumb question, by the way, not to get on a tangent, but like obviously the egg, because there's eggs exist, like hot scoop eggs exist. Any chicken had to come out of an egg, but not every egg comes from a chicken.
Yes, exactly. But then the question is, who fucking laid that egg?
Oh. No. So it was like the precursor to a chicken. Whatever the creature was that you couldn't technically say it's a chicken yet.
Yeah, like some kind of lizard bird or something.
Yeah. But then its child was the first chicken.
Okay, well then this is my question for you. What created everything?
An egg.
Yep, I'm satisfied with that answer.
Cosmic egg.
Cosmic egg. It could be argued that someone listening to and or watching this may think that we like worship an egg. Let the people think what they want.
Yeah.
All right. The next question is, who's someone you admire?
Maybe controversial, and I don't want to seem like a piece of shit, but you, I would say, was the first thing that came to my mind. I just think I've been watching you on Instagram a lot, You love the gram.
Hey, all about the gram.
No, but I was thinking about it, and I think I feel like you've been through a lot of shit this year, and it's very admirable to me. First of all, that you're doing this kind of thing. It's a very it comes across to me at least as like just a very pure, nice, sort of egoless project, which is very nice.
Thank you.
Like, doesn't have that. You know how sometimes people do a thing and you're like, you're doing this for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I admire that. And also, yeah, just I feel like, having to move back here and all the stuff that's happening in the world, I just admire your spirit, your positivity, and your go get 'em attitude.
Thank you. Didn't expect that. I just want everyone to know I did pay Josh to say something nice. Did not know this was going to be it.
He didn't specify what it had to be.
No. I just said, here's $400,000. Compliment me in some way. Just tell me like cool headphones or like.
Well, I wouldn't, because those are shit headphones.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, we both. I think it's hard to take compliments. So
I'll just sit here and watch. That's why I did it, really, just to get to watch you take it.
Yeah, thank you. But for real, thank you. That's very kind, and I appreciate that because I admire you so bloody much. And something I admire about just like our friendship, and I think a lot of friendships that we both are a part of with different people, just like the people that I think we kind of are mutual friends with, is that we all like love to tell each other that we love each other, which is really nice. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. I appreciate you too. I don't want to qualify it, but I am worried that it comes across in a million different ways. But that was the first thought I had when I read the question. So yeah, you're doing great. Well done.
Thank you. Learned it all from you. Did you know that you're my real dad?
I did. I was waiting for you to catch on. I feel so bad actually because your dad seems so nice. I don't want to take you away from him.
Well, technically he took me away from you if you're my real dad.
Oh, true. Yeah,
wait,
what a bastard.
What, you would have been like, 2 years old when I was born? That's fucked.
Proudest moment of my life.
You're like learning to walk or whatever.
Yeah. I took my first steps the moment you were born. Wait, is too old?
Yeah, I think both of us don't understand the progression of babies.
Yeah, maybe not.
All right, let's move on to the next question, which is, what's some weird kid stuff you used to do?
I was never a child, so this was hard for me to answer.
I believe that. I mean, I know you were, but also you could have come out of the womb just been like...
Here I am. Okay, I have two answers. One of them's sad, and it's not, I guess, that weird, but it popped into my head. My kind of catchphrase as a kid was, I can't do anything right. I just remember, and the reason I think it's like weird kid is looking back now, it's so dramatic and or melodramatic and weirdly adult, or I don't know. But I used to just, anytime I would drop something or make a mistake or whatever, I would well up and spout my catchphrase if I can't do anything right.
Oh my God, that's heartbreaking, but so funny.
But I knew at the time as well, it wasn't each time I was saying it, it was a new thought that had come to my head. It was this is what I say when I mess up. This is the phrase that I have to say. Yeah. I remember one time I made bacon and eggs for my stepdad on Father's Day, and I got it all ready, and I put it on the plate, and I was walking over to the kitchen table, and I dropped it, and it all just flipped food side down on the ground, and I just stood there staring at it and then spouted my catchphrase. But then Peter picked it all up and ate it, I think, which was nice. But yeah, so that's that, but more maybe weird, wacky kid thing. Me and my brother used to choreograph a lot of sword fights around our house and backyard and driveway and stuff.
Whoa. Okay. That's incredible. So, okay, what kind of swords are we talking here? You have like cardboard swords, you have plastic swords, you have real like samurai swords.
Yeah. We had a variety. We had like, yeah, plastics, like Lord of the Rings, plastic swords. We had like cheap $2 store swords. We also had, I mean, a good stick is as good as anything. My favorite one was, which I got in trouble for using, was the bottom half of a totem tennis set. You know, the half where like you step on the thing and you stick it into the ground. If
So
you
dangerous.
hold that, yeah, super dangerous. It's a sword because you got the handle and then you got the thing that you step on and then a big thing. But I got in trouble because we used to like, I dinged it up so much that we then couldn't put the other totem tennis pole in there.
I thought you were going to say you got in trouble because you beat the shit out of someone and knocked them out because it's a pole.
Yeah, it's a metal pole. No, luckily it was heavily choreographed. It was like we weren't, you know, just like whacking at each other. It was like, all right, we fight for a bit here and then I'll like do a somersault and you chase me over and then I'll get up on this high ground and yeah.
That's wonderful. Also, what happened to totem tennis?
God no. Well, I think so few of us have backyards now. That's the issue. I would love to play totem tennis.
Maybe I should, because I'm with my parents and they have a backyard. Maybe I should invest in some totem tennis.
Definitely.
Oh my God, could have a tournament.
People would go crazy for that.
Yeah, when I was little, and I didn't realize this was my like catchphrase. I had two things. Same thing. Whenever I was stressed in any way, I'd just be like, I want to go home. Even if I was at home, I'd be like,
home, like the original home, like back into your mother.
Maybe. And then I would also say, which was subconscious, but also now just shows how much of a little shit I was. Anytime anything happened, I'd be like, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything in situations where I clearly had done something.
Oh man, that's bold. I love that. Just the conviction, because when you're that age as well, you think you're going to get away with it. Like you have clearly done something, and you're like, I know what'll throw them off my scent.
Yeah.
Just denying having done it. So yours was I can't do anything wrong, and mine was I can't do anything right.
Wow, yin and yang.
Oh, should have been friends as kids.
I think that we really would have just enhanced each other's anxieties, probably.
Probably. Yeah. That's true. I feel like when most people say like, oh, we would have been such good friends as kids. It's like, well, no, you're friends now because you have grown into who you are.
Yeah, exactly. A catchphrase I did have also in year 8 was if I heard anyone say shut up to anyone, I would walk up behind them and be like, shut down.
That's beautiful.
No.
Oh, I would be so proud if my kid did that every time. Because I just respect the consistency of the bit.
All right. So the last question before we get onto your topic is, do you think aliens are real?
Yes, obviously. Well, I like to think yes, because that is a nice thought for me. Mm-hmm. But my caveat is that I think that they are not anything like we think or have depicted or anything like that.
Yeah.
There are things like I've seen documentaries where they're like, well, here's how, just how physics works and how aliens would probably look because this is how different atmospheres look and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense. And I've done no research, so they can have that. But in my mind, the prevailing thought is like, we're so puny. We know nothing. Everything that we think we know about that stuff will be proven wrong. So I feel like, we'll probably never meet them, and they probably nothing like we think. Well, I think for one, we'll never meet them, which is kind of sad in a way, I guess. But there's enough stuff to occupy us on this planet, I guess. Obviously, like the odds of all the things coming together to like let life happen are so unlikely. But just in my mind, the universe is big enough that like that unlikeliness has to have happened at least more than once, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
all based on no scientific knowledge, just like gut feeling.
Yeah. Imagine if like there's some cure for COVID and it's someone being like, I think it's just apple cider vinegar. People being like, what science do you have? No science, but bear with me on this one. Something they like have a thing of they're like, this is it. Josh, what are we going to be talking about today? What do we get? What is it? Tell us.
Ash, I would like to talk about unexceptional-ness.
Hell yeah.
I've just been thinking about a lot the idea of maybe it's an our generation thing, but we were kind of raised being like, you can do anything, the world is your oyster, you've just got to find your thing, which has so many merits to it. But I think one of the negative sides of that is that I always kind of grew up assuming that I would fall into the thing that I was the best at, and that then my life would kind of take off from there. And I think just for me that these last sort of few years, I'm coming out of that a bit and becoming a lot more okay with not being exceptional in certain ways, and just like finding the joy in like the process of doing things as opposed to maybe this is the thing that I'm the best at.
That's really great.
Not a super sustainable motivation for me, at least.
Yeah, I think in general it's not sustainable for it. Like even the most successful people, like that's why so many people say even when people get what they want, they still just want more, because we are raised to believe that like nothing is good enough.
Yeah, and like I think social media is a big part of it, because it's not like there's the sort of professional aspect to it. I think a lot of creative people have that thing of like, well, I've got to be the best in my field, because it kind of joins into the other thing of like, well, I have to make my career out of this. This is how I have to make my living. Which weirdly, when I said before, when I was a kid, I wanted to make my living doing something creative, that's like less important to me now than ever. I think it's more important to me now to like have a life where I can do things that are creative, but it doesn't need to be the way I make money necessarily. Yeah. And I think that's, part of the unexceptionalness is like, for me, being like, I'm fine as long as like I don't want to hate the way I make money, but it's more important to me to like have enough money so that I can then live the bigger chunk of my life or the other aspects of my life more kind of happily.
That's very important, I think. And like you said, with social media, it makes it so much harder to separate those two things, especially like before COVID even, but especially post-COVID. To be creative, so much of it has to be online, which like, even though you were very kind and said that this is like a very not self-serving thing and all these things, in some element it's like I gotta, like, in order to do what I want to do, I gotta be putting something out there, because we can't even be doing shows or anything right now. So it's like, it is self-serving in a way, because it's like I get to do something that makes me feel good and talk to my friends and like all that stuff and like produce something.
But I think that's the positive side of self-serving. Like that's the looking after your well-being kind of self-serving. It's not like I've got to put this out so that I can, the main thing is that I can find some sponsors and then make money off of it kind of thing.
Yeah. Even though that's definitely what my parents are like. So like, will you be making money from this, or will you be living with us until you die? Or social media with creative people or non-creative people is so bad for our self-esteem and mental health. Obviously, that's not like a new thought. I think it's like that thing where until we had the internet, really, you wouldn't know more than like a few hundred people in your lifetime, right? You would, unless you traveled a lot and things like that. But most people that have pretty normal lives live within their community, and it's easy to be, well, I'm the butcher of the town. I'm the best. Then there maybe be like 3 butchers, whatever. It wasn't this thing where like things that you wanted were unattainable. Whereas now, exactly what you said, telling children like you can be anything, you can be the best at whatever you're going to do. not only does it like set us up for expectation because the world is so much bigger now, but it's like affected so many people's mental health negatively.
Definitely. All that comparison and like, I think the important part of it is something that I hope I will like remember when I have kids is like, yes, try everything, try your best at anything that you're interested in, but also not being the best at something doesn't mean it's not worth doing. And like, you're going to be not the best at so many more things than you might be the best at. So it's important to like find that enjoyment and yeah, like analyze the reasons you're doing something. And if it's only to be the best at it, then it's maybe not a super good path to go down. Because I also feel like a lot of people, like you said, we hear those stories of like they had all the success in the world and they're still miserable. I feel like some of that at least comes from the wrong kind of goalposts. The goalpost being, I need to be the best at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can objectively get to that point. Well, I guess art is a bit harder, but like you get to the highest highs of the path that you're on or whatever, but you still don't feel like it's good enough because you don't feel like you're the number one, which is this pretty bad mentality, I think.
Yeah. And even like you said with art, if there's not, it is a bit subjective. There are still things like, for example, us talking about like improv is not like a tangible thing to measure things by, but even being like, wow, okay, I accomplished, like I performed at the Delhorst Marathon, tick, and like what's next, and like in the like that being a tiny community in the scheme of how many different things there are in life, there's so much focus on like climbing the ladder of whatever it is you're doing, and people being like, well, I've got to like get in a house team, I've got to do this and this and this and this, and then with internet it becomes how many like followers can I have, how many.
Yeah.
It's just like soul crushing.
Yeah, I think it's just super not sustainable. And even further than that, I reckon something I've been trying to work on for myself is like finding that enjoyment in whatever level you are currently at. And it's not, it's not bad to be motivated to get better, but I think so my dad always likes to say is you should only compare yourself to you yesterday. And I think that's a much better way of doing it, because we all imagine that we'll get to a point in whatever field you're in that someone will be like, well, you did it, you are now this, and you've set that benchmark, and now the rest of your life's going to be easier. But it just never ever gets to that.
No, and that's like why so many young like athletes and stuff, because obviously peak like healthy body is up until your 30s, and then things start to go downhill, just life. And that's why so many successful athletes when they're young afterwards are just like, what do I do now?
Yeah, totally.
It's like you've trained your whole life for this thing, and then what, you win gold at the Olympics and then there's nothing else. What do you do?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's nothing wrong with being exceptional, but I think you have to come to terms with unexceptionalness in probably more things than you are exceptional in. And I think it's important to have, just in life, to have like, a wide range of interests and hobbies and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you're never going to sort of achieve that if you're trying to be the best possible, but not just the best version of yourself, but the best full stop in all of these different things. I just think that's a path to feeling shitty about yourself for the most part.
Similarly, I think there's also people who purposely don't do things that they really want to do because they are like, well, I'm not the best at it, so why would I try? And even if you know it's exactly what you want to do and it's what's going to make you happy, people are like, well, I'm not going to succeed in the way that I should based on whatever it is that they measure success by. And that's so sad.
Yeah. That's why I have so much, it fills me with warmth when I see people like it's like my favorite thing in the world. It's quite vague, but like seeing someone earnestly attempt something and enjoy it, who you can just tell that it's like their motivation is doing the thing. It's not like, you know, to be the best or whatever. And I think every time I say something like that in my mind, I'm like, well, you know, people motivate themselves by wanting to be the best. And I think that's fine. But as long as it's tempered with like, if I'm not the best, that's also fine. Like life is so broad that you need to be okay, I think, with being middle of the field in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people like karaoke, because
it's
so fun to watch whether people are good or bad, because it's like, wow, people are just what other situation is there where people can just like sing?
Yeah, totally. And that's why like uncomfortable karaoke is when people are trying to be the best singer on the night. Like that's when you can tell that someone's trying to like blow people away, and their ideal response is like, holy shit, I didn't know you could sing so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell when that's kind of motivating someone. I think there's just a real joy to be found in sort of accepting. I don't want it to sound like giving up on something, but like just accepting where you're at on with a certain skill or a certain hobby or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And just finding the joy in each sort of stage of that. And I think that's, at least in my experience, you'll like find yourself getting better at the thing naturally because you're just motivated to do it more because you're not discouraged by how bad you are at it currently.
I've been thinking a lot about how, like, for me, something that I need to remember, because like part of why I was so excited to talk about this with you is because I struggle with this so much. And like, I feel like a lot of people do it at some point in their lives. But I think I really took like, you can do anything when I was a kid to be like, all right, well then I'm going to do it. And I don't think I've ever been like, I'm going to be the best at whatever it is I want to do. But I've always been like, it's going to happen or I have failed. Like,
yeah.
And I think specifically like what you said, like I've always just been like, I want to make money doing comedy and writing and being creative. That's all. And because I haven't like I have made money working like in creative stuff, so I shouldn't say that. But because I'm not right now, it feels like I'll have moments where I'm like, I'm a failure. When I was working professionally in doing creative stuff, I would wake up every day and be like, you're killing it. Like I'd be like, it's happening. And I hated my job, but I'd be like, at least you're doing it. And then it's like, what is my quality of life? Whereas right now, my quality of life is the best it's been in such a long time because I'm taking care of my like physical, mental health. I'm thinking about these things. But it's so bizarre how we like just write ourselves off as failures if we're not doing the thing we want. But something that I've been like learning is maybe because like now we're going deep now, but every now and then I'll feel about my time in the US, like I'll be like, should I have even gone? Like looking at in terms of success, friends here and things, and all the changes that have happened in a lot of our mutual friends' lives and like the success that they've found and all the creative things that they've been doing. And when I moved, like my entire like hierarchy of needs changed. I couldn't just do fun creative stuff because I had to like survive in a country where minimum wage is so low. There were moments where I was there looking at all my friends at home being like, oh, I should have just stayed home. I would be doing better. Things would be better for me, and feeling like all this jealousy and stuff. But now I'm kind of realizing, now that I'm back and now that I'm very lucky to be like back in a country that has like healthcare and where my parents are, so I don't need to pay rent for the time being, is that sometimes, at least this is what I hope and what I'm just telling myself to like soothe my soul and like not be discouraged, is that if you just work within what you have, and maybe you actually will end up getting to whatever it is you want to be. But like all I could think of, I remember from like 15 was like, okay, well, in order to do what I want to do, I have to be in America because there's nothing here. I have no evidence of things working out here. So I'm going to go over there and that's the only answer. So great. And then I got there and then it's like, oh, not only is this nothing like what I thought it was going to be, but now everyone at home is like taking the steps that I wish I could be taking here, but I can't because of all these other things.
Yeah, yeah. I think the thing of like the idea of don't go outside yourself, meaning like just look at what you do have and what's important to you and what you're surrounded by. Definitely set goals and, make steps to try to achieve those goals. Yeah, there's a different sort of motivation to it sometimes where it's like, well, I have to do that, so nothing I do matters here. So before I do that, none of this matters. But like, you are always yourself. Like, you have been you your entire life and you'll never not be you. I think as early as you can sort of take a moment, assess what's really important to you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel safe, all that kind of stuff, and use that to motivate your external goals and the steps you need to take to do things. Because if you're like, just as an example, if you're like, well, I know that I want to be working on stuff in America, but I'm not in a place where I should be doing that yet. You're not going to know that unless you kind of check in with yourself more often. I think the last couple of years I've been, because my partner is in Chicago, and like long term I want to move over there. But since I've had that thought, I've had to watch myself and be like, well, don't just like mentally abandon your life here or like write anything off or any of that kind of stuff. Like, the more I can work to be more fulfilled before that happens, the happier I'll be if and when that does happen. It's very easy to set like a huge goal and then not worry about anything leading up to that or the interim, because you're like, well, that's what I'm going to be doing, so I can kind of just not have any critical thoughts until then, because I know that that's going to happen.
Yeah. And in that time, like any stuff that you've been avoiding, when you get, at least personal experience, when you get there, it all like clicks in and you're like, ah.
Yeah, it only makes it harder because you've just been ignoring it for however long.
Just doing what you can within what you have will probably get you to where you want to go if you're working as hard at it as you would be working towards that other big goal. Who's to say that big goal isn't still possible for you down the line? But focusing on it and like it makes you not even see any opportunities that you have in your current life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think to like bring it back to unexceptional-ness, I think it's so important to be okay with it, because I guess it goes back to like process versus product, which is something we talk about in improv a lot. Just like, you have to enjoy the process, or at least find some, be sustained by it in some way, because it'll never stop being that. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but whenever I finish, like I just finished working on a comic that I've been working on for like a month and a bit.
Yay.
And it's never a good feeling finishing it to me. Like, I'm proud and I'm like glad that it's done and I'm excited for people to see it. But in terms of like emotional sustainability or whatever, I feel much better and more fulfilled while I'm working on it than putting it out, which I think is something that I sort of have been trying to actively work on. Because the biggest feeling for me was when I did my solo comedy show last year. But I just remember finishing that run, and it's something that I'd been working on like really hard. I'd never done it before, and I finished it, and I felt just so nothing. I was like, I expected this like wave of accomplishment to wash over me, but I just felt like, oh, now I have nothing. Like, I'm not doing anything. So it was a weird, hollow feeling. And it made me realize that like maybe I was being motivated by the wrong thing. When you're motivated by the end product, I don't know, it often feels hollow when you get there. The thing that keeps running through my head of unexceptional-ness being a thing is that I don't want it to seem like it's not okay to be exceptional, because it absolutely is, and wonderful. And also, obviously, everyone is exceptional in different ways. But I think, it comes down to motivation. I think, you want to achieve these things in whatever field, and they might be real sort of practical goals. Like, I want to make a TV show that airs on TV, or I want to do a giant painting, or whatever it is. And it's not all just creative stuff, but that's the only lens I can I can
same.
stuff through. But I feel like, yeah, having that as your driving factor and like enjoying the process and all that kind of stuff often does result in achieving certain goals anyway. Like I know if I had any power to like, you know, give anyone one of those things that they want, if I was like a TV executive or whatever, I would be motivated by seeing people who were attacking it in that way. And like I would be turned off by seeing people who are doing it for the wrong reasons. And, you know, that person who's like belting a karaoke song because they want everyone to compliment them on their singing. Yep. If I'm a record producer, although this probably wouldn't happen in real life because they're like, you're good at singing, we'll give you a contract. But like morally, I would be like, yeah, you're motivated by the wrong thing. I want to reward this person who's, you know, enjoying the process and doing it for more wholesome reasons.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's the best of both worlds to do it that way, because if you do find that you are exceptional in that field, but you've been doing it with that motivation, then you're going to be happier when you get there, because you've got that sort of base level of knowing what's important to you and how to make yourself happy. But then if you don't achieve whatever success or whatever, you'll still be happy doing the thing.
It's also kind of like, it's a turn off. It's a turn off when someone's just like, I want this.
Yeah, totally.
Give me that.
Totally.
Give me that thing.
It's so much nicer to like see someone enjoying doing something and you're like, I want to be a part of that. Like I want that energy in my circle or in my life or whatever. I see it sometimes during comedy festival. It's like my least favorite part of comedy festival. Sometimes you'll see people like sidling up to famous comedians, or like, there's just something a little icky about it sometimes when you see the way people act differently around, you know, famous people or whatever.
It's so clear. That's the thing. It's so obvious when someone is trying to get something from someone rather than just like be a person around another person.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me so uncomfortable. We'll probably strayed off the topic a little bit. But yeah, to me, it all just comes back to like finding enjoyment in the place that you are currently at. It's just always going to be lead to a more sustainable and good life, I think.
Yeah. And I think you'll be more present as well. If you're so focused on something else, it takes so much away from other aspects of your life, as I have learned through living it. So
yeah, no, I think we all have. I know that for me, like from when I started improv to, yeah, probably my comedy festival show last year, that was, I didn't know it, but I think at least subconsciously it was that was motivating me of like, well, here are the steps you have to take and here's the path to being the best comedian or whatever. And that's why it was such a shock when I hit one of those goals that I had set for myself, that I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment. And I think it's because I was focused on the wrong thing during the process. That is also something that has motivated me, I think in a slightly negative way, is like, what's my dent that I'm going to make or whatever. And I think, again, it's not to say that that's a bad thing, because people wanting to change the world for the better is definitely an admirable thing. But I think when your motivation is like, what am I going to be remembered for? Yeah. Or like, what are people going to associate me with? All my feelings now on that are just like, as long as it's generally positive, like that's the best I can hope for, really.
Exactly what you said. I think shifting your motivation and being like, okay, well, at least for me, my goals are still somewhat the same, but knowing that like living a happy life that is like as pain-free and positive as possible is the point, and not like being the best or the whatever it is at something, will allow you to actually be better at it too. That's a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, everyone needs different things to motivate them, and some people are in certain positions where they have to motivate themselves by being the best in order to get out of the position that they're in. And I think that's totally valid. But I think as long as you also keep one eye on like, where am I actually at, you know, holistically, how do I feel about my life?
What's one thing that you have started doing for yourself that you're like, I'm not great at this, but this makes me happy and like it's fun to do?
Probably cooking is the first thing that comes to mind. I don't think I'm terrible cook or whatever, and I'm just enjoying learning a lot more about cooking. Again, the process is so much more fun than the end result, really. Like by the time I finish cooking something, I'm like, yeah, it tastes good, love it, and now it's gone. But I've been getting a lot of enjoyment out of, I guess it comes back to presentness as well. Like, God, I love chopping vegetables. It's like my favorite thing to do, because it's like, you better just concentrate and you better watch these vegetables as you're cutting them and like
not cut yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a very real danger, especially if you're following a recipe from like a video or something. It won't turn out looking like that, and knowing that is very comforting, to just enjoy the process of cutting up all the vegetables, and then whatever you get at the end, it'll be great. That's why you chose to cook it. But what's more important is really being present while you're doing it, I think.
Thank you so much, Josh, for being here. So is there
Thank you.
anything that you would like to plug at the moment, and where can people find things that you're doing at the moment?
So my thing at the moment is my comic magazine, Heaps Comics. So issue 1 is out, and by the time this comes out, issue 2 will be out as well. So please go and get that. And I guess you can see my other comic and illustration stuff on my Instagram, Josh Chodziesner. Check it out, give me a follow, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Bloody pleasure. And thank you everyone consuming this. Really appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, give this a big old thumbs up, whether you like eggs or you don't like eggs. It's got nothing to do with eggs at this point.
I don't love eggs.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? If you like eggs, comment, hi, I love eggs. If you don't, comment, hi, f*** eggs. Basically, like this if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. It's a fun time, and follow me on everything at Ashley Crap App if you want to find out more stuff that I'm doing. And I'm also streaming on Twitch now, just being very silly, playing some Sims and watching stupid videos. So you can find all of that in the description, or if you're listening, just go to my Instagram, and that's it. That's everything. Stay hydrated. I'm gonna have a sip of my H2O. Yum. Amazing. All right. Bye.